Hi everyone, Big Mike here. So it's time for another tutorial, and this time we're going to be looking at Shadowrun 5th edition for one of our upcoming streams. So we're going to take you through, as always, the basic rules, some simple character creation stuff, and just a few things you need to know so that you can follow along with the games we're going to do. Okay, let's get to it. In Shadowrun, you play a mercenary for hire, or the Shadowrun as the term goes. You can be anything within this game, from someone who's a hired gun to someone who does a job as a professional hacker, or even a shaman or a magical adept of some kind. It's very wide open, but you're basically a mercenary for hire who does jobs for money, ranging from assassinations to theft to robbery to industrial espionage. Anything's on the table. It's all about trying to keep yourself alive in a dystopian 2075, depending on the setting and time and place you stick yourself in. With your character, you'll have 4 physical attributes and 4 mental attributes. The physical attributes are body, agility, reaction, strength, and the 4 mental ones are willpower, logic, intuition, and charisma. There's a couple more special stats, but those vary depending on how you build your character, although everyone has an initiative stat, which we're going to cover in a little bit when we get to combat. So, when you make a character, you have to use something relatively annoying, but really simple once you understand it, called the priority table, which should show up right there. What happens is there are several different categories for your character, as well as different things called the priorities. What this means is, for each category, you choose at what priority that is, and you can only choose each priority once. So something will be at a priority A, something will be at a priority B, C, D, E, and so on, but for each category. So you'll have things like money, what species you are, what kind of magical boosts you have, what kind of skills, and how many attribute points. So you won't have everything at a high level, but one thing will be at high level. So you could have a human who's very rich but very weak physically. You could have a troll who's very physically dominating but has no magic talent whatsoever. It's how the system balances itself so that when you make a character, everyone excels at something. Also, the out-of-the-box races are human, elf, dwarf, orc, and troll. Of course, as always, in addition to the normal attributes, you have skills, which are the same as they are in any other system. They are things your character is trained in, and these are things like first aid, automatic weapons, intimidation, just the generic, normal, ordinary skills that would apply best in this situation that best reflect your character. All dice rolls in Shadowrun use 6-sided dice, or D6s, or as your parents call them, dice. What happens is, rather than rolling a certain number of specific number of dice and then adding your attributes and skills towards that, for each attribute and each skill point you have, you roll that many d6s. So let's say you have a 4 in strength and a 2 in punching people. You would roll 6 dice. Now what happens is, when you have those 6 dice, for every 5 and 6 on each dice that happens, that counts as a success. And the total number of successes you have is your total success number for whatever you rolled. Now, before you roll, your GM should give you a threshold number that you have to hit in order to make the succeed. Any more successes you have in that are called net hits. And they're just more successes. It means you did it better or whatever. Let's say if you feel you're in a situation where you have a lot of dice but you won't be able to do well, you can actually take 4 dice away from your pool, and that automatically guarantees you a success, or hit, if you will. It's just a little mechanic used to help make your life a little bit easier, but your mileage may vary on how well it'll work for you. Naturally, ever so often, players have opposing rolls, and when that happens, highest always succeeds, which would make sense. However, ties don't go to either defender or attacker. They're just a stalemate. Nothing happened. It's just, you guys just sparked off each other, and no one really had advantage after that. Just a thing to know. Now, this system does have a unique thing for failure. They're called glitches, or just a singular glitch. What happens is, if you roll your dice pool and more than half are ones, regardless of whether or not you succeeded, then you've earned a glitch. A glitch is a kind of negative condition you've earned, or something that the GM comes up with to merit with the fact that while you might have succeeded, there's still something wrong, like muscle fatigue, or you threw a flash grenade and it's blinded you slightly. It's how failure can occur. Now, if you fail to roll any hits at all and you get at least one, that's a critical glitch, and that is basically a critical failure, which means you belong to the Game Master. And in Shadowrun, that's never a good thing. And now, combat. The first thing I have to explain is initiative, because it's an odd beast in Shadowrun. Because in Shadowrun, in a normal game of combat, well, not normal, but it can happen, you can have as many as 5 different types of initiative. Because some people are hacking and some people are in a real gunfight. Thankfully, it's the Game Master's job to track that, not the normal players or those of you at home who might be watching a D20 live stream. But the basic roll is reaction plus intuition. You roll it, highest goes first. Really simple. However, as you go down the order, once everyone has acted once, everyone subtracts 10 from their initiative roll. Straight out. And then the round resets, but it's reordered based on that subtraction. Anyone who got 0 or less from that subtraction no longer goes. They're out for that round of combat. This keeps going until everyone's down to 0. Then everyone rolls initiative again, and then it starts all over again. So you could have the opportunity to go 4 or 5 times, where some players may only get one good shot in. It really depends. As for actual combat, it's always an attacker's attack roll versus a defender's defense roll. If the attacker's over the defender's defense roll, he succeeds to hit. If the defender's is higher, then he just simply misses the shot. Really simple stuff. As for combat, it's just a simple opposed roll between an attacker and defender. If the attacker's roll is higher, it means he hit. Defender's roll is higher, it means he missed. Ties always go to defender. It's just really simple stuff to see if you hit. Now, the difference between the attacker's success and the defender's failure is added to the end damage roll, which is added to the damage of whatever attack they used. That damage is always a fixed number. It doesn't really roll up, so if you did really well on your to-hit roll, it just adds on to the damage, but the damage is always flat. That damage is then applied to the defender's defense, whatever armor he's wearing, again, magical enhancements, implants, things like that, and it's subtracted. After that, he just has to eat that damage, or she. Rather than use a flat HP value, players have a series of boxes called a damage track that issues penalties as the damage increases until it's maxed out. There's a set for stun damage, which makes a player unconscious, and then there's a physical damage track, which makes one dead. There's a lot more to this world in terms of hacking and magic, but for the purposes of this tutorial and our games, you should be okay. Grab your gear, chummers, and get ready to be burned or be fragged. And remember, watch your back, shoot straight, conserve ammo, and never, ever make a deal with a dragon. We'll see you next time.